This is not going to be first answer with bookworm this time. It's going to be for the Eminence and Shadow, episode part 4, I think. Hang on. I think this is where I had last ended, or... I don't know. Just as I extend my hand to collect the last coin, she stomps on the change with her loafer. I looked up at Alexis, and her red eyes bear down on me. I could see up her pleated skirt. Are you going to do as I say? She asked with a grin that oozes wickedness. Of course, I smiled from ear to ear. Good dog. Alexis pats my head before briskly walking away with her short skirt billowing behind her. I wipe her footprint from the coin and gently place it in my pocket. This guy is a sucker for change. Or money, I should say, in general. Even as I attend the academy, I continue cutting down on sleep to keep training, but this fake courtship with Alexis is really sucking up my time. Come with me. With this order, I'm dragged into the classroom for Section 1 students in the Royal Bushan elective at the wee hours of the morning. We're the only ones here. The sun is streaming into the room, and it's peaceful. And it's time for morning practice. Alexius, suiting me. Swigs her sword, and I follow suit next to her. She's very serious when it comes to practice. It's the one thing I don't mind about her. We never speak, just practice in absolute silence, and I'm not annoyed about spending time with her, for once in my life. Your swordplay is strange, Alexia comments. You've got the basics down, that's it, but she pauses. I'm obviously subduing my strength, magic, and abilities as I slice through the air, which leaves me with the fundamentals, but I can't take my eyes off it. Thanks. I can hear the birds chirping outside, but I know they aren't whistling a tune to themselves. It's a war cry to claim their territory, which means they're really duking it out. But I still don't like it, Alexia adds. We don't speak after that. We just keep practicing. 2 more weeks pass, and I'm somehow managing to survive as Alexia's boyfriend, quote-unquote. Every once in a while, the other students will bully me, but it's nothing I can't handle. I'm just relieved Mr. Xenon hasn't beaten the living shit out of me, or availed himself of any quick and savage tricks to erase me from existence. In fact, Mr. Xenon is polite to the two of us during class, instructing us as if he and I didn't have beef with each other. He doesn't approach me to shoot the breeze anymore, but I would say he's a proper adult who can keep his work and private life separate. And then there's the royal pain in my ass. That jerkwad pisses me off, thinks he's all that just because he's alright with a sword. Alexia acts nice to his face, but behind closed doors she's a foul-mouthed tornado. Yep, whatever you say. I've turned into a yes machine. By this point, I know disagreeing only wastes time. Pooch, I'm guessing you saw his fake-ass grin too. Yep, I saw it all right. We're on our way home after school. Of late, we've gotten into the habit of taking a small detour down a quiet path through the forest on the way back to her dorm. I spend the whole time yesing her and seldom retain more than 10% of our conversations. It's sunset as we walk at an excruciatingly slow pace down the road. It should take 10 minutes to walk in its entirety, but it always takes us half an hour. There are days it takes so long that the stars come out, but I keep my cool. There are days when I feel like telling her to talk to a brick wall, but I show some self-restraint then too. Patience. But there's one thing I feel I have to say. Hey, can I ask you something? What is it, Fido? Alexia sits on her favorite stump and crosses her legs. Don't just sit there. Let's get a move on. I don't say as I sit down beside her. What don't you like about Mr. Xenon? Objectively speaking, he seems like a home run of a husband. Have you been listening to me at all? Alexia asked, slightly vexed. I hate everything about him, his very existence. I mean, he's a hot expert swordsman with titles, prestige, money, not to mention a good work-life balance and personality. And he's popular with the ladies. Alexia snorts. Yeah, on the surface. Anyone can pretend. Take me for an example. Wow, I'm suddenly completely convinced. Now that she mentions it, she's super popular because she's the master at wearing a mask in front of others. That's why I don't judge people on their looks. Then what do you look at? Their flaws. Alexia smiles smugly. What a negative approach. It suits you perfectly. Why, thank you. And just so you know, I don't mind you, even though you've got nothing going for you. Thanks. I've never received a compliment that's made me feel worse. Alexia chuckles dryly. You're scum through and through, but I like it that way. And it's also why I can't stand our instructor. What are his flaws? He doesn't seem to have any. Sounds like a keeper. I told you before, perfect people don't exist. I bet he's either a big fat liar or totally messed up in the head. More like messed up in the head. I see. Thanks for that totally arbitrary and biased answer. You're welcome, my flawed pooch. Now fetch. Alexia tossed the coin in the air, and I scrambled to retrieve it. Woohoo, another 10,000 zenny. I'm gonna catch them all. This guy. Oh, Sid. I shoved the coin in my pocket and returned to Alexia, who was clapping her hands in delight. Good doggy, she rubs my head. Patience, I tell myself. Oh, you hate this so much, she observes as she vigorously tousles my hair. I take this opportunity to remember what she's the worst. I can see the disgust in your face, Alexia notes. I'm letting you see it. She giggles and gets up. All right, let's head home. Yep. And Fido, note that I'm going to lodge my wooden sword into that damn instructor's face tomorrow. Make sure you're watching. This compels me to ask another question. Would you seriously do that? What do you mean, she replies, turning back to glare at me. I think I'm butting into something where I should stay in my lane, but I can't let this slide. Mr. Xenon is definitely stronger than you, but not to the point where you wouldn't be able to fight back. I like the way she handles her sword. Her skills evolve every day with her efforts, one step at a time. But in an actual fight, there would be too many extra movements. I would hate to see it sully her swordmanship, especially since I think it's good. You make it sound so easy, even though you're the one wearing white. Don't mind me, it's just the ramblings of a white coat. Fine, I'll let you know the truth. It's not as easy as you think. I have no talent. I was born with a significant amount of magical energy, and I've worked hard to get to this point. I think I'm all right now, but I know I don't stand a chance against a true genius. Maybe. I've always been compared to my older sister, Iris. Everyone expected great things from me, and more importantly, I respected Iris and wanted to be at her level. But I realized I would never be as good as her. I mean, we weren't born on the same playing field. I tried my best to get stronger, but I'm guessing you already know how people describe my fighting style. There's a certain phrase that's always uttered when the two sisters are compared. The swordplay of an amateur. That's right, and yours is too. How unfortunate, Alexia flashes me a lopsided smirk. I don't think it's unfortunate. I like your swordplay. Alexia reacts by holding her breath for a moment and scowling. I've been told that before. By Iris. Then she beat me on stage at the Bushin Festival. Alexia curls her lips and imitates her sister. I like your swordplay. She doesn't understand me at all. I feel pathetic as she had no idea. Ever since then, I've always hated the way I fight. Then why not change it? I mean, I know it's easier said than done since you've been doing it for a good long while and it's hard to get out of a habit, but still. Alexia smiles, but I don't know why. At the very least, I know she isn't happy. There's something I need to tell her. If I don't say it now, I'll be stabbing myself in the back. You know, I'm as apathetic as they come. If there was a catastrophe that wiped out 1 million people on the other side of the world, it wouldn't affect me. If you went nuts and became a serial killer, I wouldn't be bothered, I say. If I lost my mind, you'd be the first person I kill. Now, there are certain things I care about. They might be insignificant to others, but to me they're more precious than anything. I live this life protecting those few things, which is why I really mean what I'm about to tell you. One simple phrase. I like your swordplay. After a brief silence, Alexia replies, so what? Nothing. I guess the main takeaway is that it peeves me when other people tell me what I can and can't like. That's all. I see. Ignore that. My arm hit something and it knocked over an empty bottle. I see. Alexia pivots on her heels. I'm heading home alone today. And then she walks away. Hold on. Okay, that is the right page, okay. It's been a while since the three of us have eaten together, comments Poe the traitor. That's because he was dining with the princess every day, adds Skell. Shit happens, I say. It's the first time in a long while that the three of us can sit together in the cafeteria. Alexia isn't here, which is rare. Come on, Sid, cheer up. Yeah, real men don't hold grudges, you know. We even bought you the lunch for broke aristocrats today, costing 980 zenny. Our treat, let's bygones be bygones and let's be friends again. Alright, already, I let out a heavy sigh. Yeah, that's our man. Thanks for forgiving us, Sid. Whatever. So how far did you get? Skill asked, holding back his excitement. With what? Wait, did you do the deed with the princess? You've been dating a whole 2 weeks, so you must have done something. He's asking if you made a move on her. I knew we were about to have a dumb conversation based solely on the fact that he said do the deed. We didn't do anything. That would never happen. Huh? You're a friggin' wuss. I would have gone all the way for sure. Right, I would have smooched her at the very least. I told you, our relationship isn't like that. I deflect and nod to the whole conversation indifferently as I chow down. Can I have a moment? Enter Mr. Xenon, the blonde-haired hunk. Yes, of course, by all means. With that, my two pals melt into the background again. Can I help you, I ask? slightly on guard. I'm worried that he might pull something while Alexia is not around. Indeed, you might have heard already, but Alexia hasn't returned to her dormitory since yesterday. Excuse me? This is the first I've heard of it. I'm guessing she's gone off on a journey to find herself or whatnot, whatever. The timing seems about right for her age. I was searching for her this morning when I found this. Mr. Xenon held on a loafer in one hand. It's Alexia's. There's evidence of a struggle nearby. The Night Order is investigating this case as a potential kidnapping. No way, I shout in torment as I vigorously fist pump in my mind. Ha, serves you right, princess. We narrowed the culprit down to the person who last came into contact with her. Mr. Xenon looks me square in the eye. The Night Order would like to have a word with you. I notice the entire order is in full gear, standing menacingly at the entrance of the cafeteria. I'm assuming you'll cooperate, right? That's when it hits me. This ain't good. Okay, hang on, guys. I've got to go get my Chapter 3. My official beginning as a mastermind in action. I was interrogated in a room comparable to a detention cell and released after 5 days. It's evening now. Come on, scram. They shoved me out of the building and chucked my suitcase behind me. I'm in nothing but my underwear, and I rummaged through my suitcase to change and shoved my feet into my shoes. It takes me a while to get dressed. I'm guessing it has to do with the fact that all my fingernails were ripped off. When I get everything on, I breathe out a huge sigh and start walking. I stand out among the people on the busy street since I'm beaten up and drenched in my own blood. So I can chill out, relax. There's no point in getting worked up over every little thing. Blocking the faces of the interrogating knights out of my mind. They were just doing their job. Their punches only left surface-level wounds on my body. If I felt like it, I could grow my missing fingernails back, but I don't, because I'm fully immersed in acting out my role as a nobody. Yeah, I'm always cool and collected, right? Calm. I let out another long exhale. I pay attention to my surroundings and sense strange shadows lurking behind me. 2 of them are tailing me. The kidnapper hasn't been caught, which obviously means that the state of Alexia's well-being is up in the air. Just because I've been released doesn't mean it's all sunshine and roses. They just don't have enough evidence to convict me, and my name hasn't been cleared yet. I trudge back to my dorm room, pretending to hang my head from exhaustion. Later, whispers a quiet voice. It reaches my ears, accompanied with the faint accent of a familiar perfume, Alpha? But I can't find her anywhere among the city folk scurrying past one another on the main road after sunset. When I flick the lights on in my dorm room, the silhouette of a girl emerges from the darkness. You must be hungry. Her black suit fits her perfectly, accentuating her feminine curves. She's holding out a sandwich with a thick slab of tuna in her hand from Tuna King, the famous restaurant in the capital. Thanks, it's been a while, Alpha. Where's Beta? I'm famished after not eating a proper meal in 5 days, and I devour the sandwich. Beta is the one who's supposed to be on rotation to assist me. She contacted me. What a mess. Alpha sits cross-legged on the bed. There's a nostalgic quality to her shiny golden locks that trail down her back, and those blue eyes the shape of almonds. She's grown up since last time. Yep. I stuff the last piece of sandwich in my mouth. There's water in there. Thanks. I chug it from a large glass. I'm alive again. I strip off my jacket and shoes and dive into bed. Hey, at least change out of your clothes. Can't. Gotta go to bed now. Don't you know the position you're in? I'll leave the preparations to you. Alpha is brilliant. She'll prepare the best stage for our performance if I just let her do her thing. Until then, I'm gonna sleep. Save up my energy. Alpha let out a frustrated sigh. I'm sure you already know this, but they're going to think you're the culprit if you don't do something. True that. If the real culprit is never found, I can almost guarantee the next suspect in line will be punished. Especially since this involves the kidnapping of a royal. Someone has to die, or else the case will never be closed. You gotta love the Middle Ages. Wake up! I've got more sandwiches. I'm awake. Alpha hands them over. Someone is trying to escalate the situation and frame you as the culprit. Like I'm gonna be convicted even if they don't do anything? I'm guessing they want to settle this matter quickly, and an unassuming student from a poor noble family is the perfect target. Agreed. I would do the same thing. We can't trust the Night Order. Has the cult infiltrated them? Yes, without a doubt. The abductor is a member of the cult. Their goal is to obtain high concentrations of the blood of the heroes. The girls are still pretending that there's a cult for me. What a great bunch. He is stupid. He's smart. He's amazing. But he's stupid. Is she still alive? If she dies, they won't be able to extract any more of her blood. True. Though I'm not sure why you decided to woo the princess. Alpha glares at me. That's not how it happened. I'm sure you have your reasons you can't tell us. I don't let out another peep and avert my eyes to avoid her gaze. I have no real reason, of course. I understand. I know you're struggling with something deep down in your heart. How do I respond when that's totally not the case? But I hope you can trust us even a little bit more. If you told us about this earlier, it wouldn't have gotten out of hand. Don't you agree? Yeah. It's okay. Our job is to make sure you're covered, she adds with a smile. Once we solve this case, you're trading me to Tuna King. That last sandwich was supposed to be mine. Of course. Sorry for stealing your sandwich, Alpha. Don't worry about it, she insists, standing up and heading to the window. Once she gets it open, she hooks one foot out of the room, wiggling her tiny hips. I'll be leaving now. Lay low for a while. Got it. What's our strategy? We'll assemble an army. There aren't enough members in the capital, and I believe we should summon Delta. You're sending for Delta? She wants to see you. Gunshot Delta, otherwise known as Suicide Weapon Delta. Put simply, she's a blockhead who spent all her experience points on her battle skills. A little reunion would be nice, I guess. I'm begging that all of them turned out all right. I'll let you know the details when the preparations are complete. See you soon. Alpha flashes me a final smile before yanking on her bodysuit to hide her face and slipping out the window into the night. Is that the end of your report? Asked the red-headed beauty. Her fiery straight hair reaches to the small of her back, illuminated under the flickering lights of a candle, and her wide red eyes are set on the investigation papers on her desk. The reporting knight blushes in the presence of her poise and allure. Yes, Princess Iris. We'll continue our search to the best of our abilities. Iris nods, cueing him to take his leave. When the door closed behind him, Iris is left alone with the handsome man with blonde hair. Marquis Xenon, thank you for your cooperation. The incident took place on school grounds. I was responsible for keeping her safe, and more importantly, I'm worried about her well-being. He lowers his eyes and bites his lower lip in frustration. You had to attend to your duties as an expert swordsman. No one blames you. And we don't have time to point fingers right now. We need to focus on getting Alexia back safe and sound. I suppose you're right. Another thing. Iris stops speaking for a moment and snaps the report closed. Is it true that this Sid Kagano is most likely the perpetrator? I don't want to believe one of our own students could be the culprit based on the circumstances. I have to say I find him suspicious. Though I don't think he's strong enough to overpower Alexia in a duel. Mr. Xenon tacks on the last bit, carefully choosing his words. Which means he either has an accomplice or drugged her. But he didn't crack during interrogation. Do you really think it's him? Iris asks. I can't say for certain, but I want to believe him. Iris nods and narrows her eyes. I have my most trusted knights surveilling him. We'll wait for the next report. I pray for Alexia's safety. Mr. Xenon offers a bow before taking his leave. Just as he opens the door, a young girl skids through it into the room. Your Highness, please listen. Claire, what are you doing here? Excuse us, we'll be leaving. Mr. Xenon grabs the girl with black hair, Claire Kagano, attempting to push her out of the room. Marquis Xenon, who is she? He halts. She's Claire Kagano. I'm Sid's older sister. Claire, she's currently one of our top students, and she's shadowing the members of the Knight's Order. I see. All right, I'll listen. Thank you so much. Claire explains, approaching Iris and pleading her case. My brother would never kidnap Princess Alexia. This must be a mistake. A Knight Order is taking every precaution in its search to avoid any mistakes. It hasn't been confirmed that your brother is a criminal. Yes, but if no one finds the real culprit, he'll take the fall. Our knights are carefully investigating the matter. I can assure you that no one will be wrongfully convicted. But, Claire, Mr. Xenon warns, stopping Claire from desperately pressing Iris any further. Settle down. I know how you feel, but any more will be an insult to the Knight Order. Claire lets out before glaring at Xenon and then Iris. If anyone lays a hand on my brother, I'll... That's enough. Mr. Xenon cuts her off and yanks her out of the room. Slam. Iris looks at his side, staring at the closed door behind them. Huh. We feel the same way about our respective families, Iris murmurs. Alexia, I hope you're all right. The two sisters used to be close, but somewhere along the way they started drifting apart. In fact, they haven't spoken in years, and Iris knows they may never again. Alexia. Iris shuts her wine-red eyes and lets out a single tear trail down her face. And she is worried. When Alexia opens her eyes, she finds herself in a dimly lit room with no windows and a candle as the only source of light. A heavy door is embedded in the stone wall before her. Where am I? She doesn't remember anything after saying goodbye to Fido on her way home from school. Upon shifting her body, Alexia hears the clang of metal striking metal and looks down to see her limbs bound to a low table. Magical restraint? That means her magic is being subdued, and it might be tough for her to escape on her own. Who brought her here, and for what purpose? She goes down the list of possibilities. Abduction, blackmail, human trafficking. There's no definite answer. Though Alexia may not be the heir to the throne, she knows she has enough leverage as a princess to attract criminals. That said, she has too little information to figure out the current situation. She takes a step back. A new thought pops into her mind. Is Fido okay? Yeah, Fido. An asshole of a friend, but she likes him for speaking his mind without fear. If he's dragged into this mess, his life would be... Alexia stopped herself from finishing that thought, shaking her head to clear it before scanning the room. A stone wall, a steel door, a candlestick, and something that looks like a black pile of trash. That heap is chained up for some reason, sitting beside her. Alexia is staring at it curiously when she thinks that she sees it move slightly. It's breathing. Something in tattered clothes. Can you hear me? Can you understand? The being turns to look at her. It's a creature. Alexia has never seen one this malnourished before. She can barely make out its eyes, nose, and mouth in its black, festering face. Its entire body is distorted and bloated, and its right arm is longer than Alexia's legs. In contrast, its left arm is thinner and stumpier than hers, and there is a protrusion in its body as if it's carrying something in its stomach. This creature is right next to Alexia. Her hands and feet are chained to the table, but that's only bound by its neck. If it were to just extend its long arm, the monstrosity could potentially touch her. Alexia hushes her breath, averting her eyes to avoid provoking it. She's being observed. There's a long pause that seems to freeze time, and then its chains begin to rattle. Alexia shifts her gaze to the side, and the creature is lying face down as if it's fallen asleep. She heaves a huge sigh of relief. It isn't long before the door opens. Finally, I finally got you. A lanky man in a white coat enters the room. His cheeks are sunken, his eyes caved in, and his lips cracked. The little wisp of hair left on his thinning head are slicked down with the oil from his scalp, from which wafts a dreadful smell. Alexia calmly watches the man. Royal blood, royal blood, royal blood, royal blood. As the man in the white coat repeats this phrase, he retrieves a device equipped with a thin syringe. Maybe he's planning on drawing her blood? The castle doctor took it many times before. But she doesn't know why this man would kidnap a princess for her blood. May I ask you a question? Alexia asks coolly. A strange gurgle emerges from the man. What will you use it for? You have the blood of a demon. I'll use it to resurrect them in the modern day. I see. Pretty neat idea you've got there. Although she can't understand what he's trying to say, she's very aware he's gone completely mad and realizes he must be motivated by religion. Or something. Hey, I'll have a hard time staying alive if you take too much blood. I'm not ready to die, you know. I know. I want all the blood you can give me. I'll siphon bit by bit from you each day. Yes, please do. As long as he eats her blood, he won't kill her. Which is why she keeps docile and doesn't try to resist. For the time being, she decides to wait to be rescued instead. This wasn't supposed to happen. I blame those morons for all this. I hate idiots too. She stares at the man in the white coat as she mumbles under her breath, because dealing with them wears me out. They destroyed my laboratory. It all started with that dumbass Grease. Dumbass Grease is the one who started it? And then they kept coming, and... That's a shame. I'm starting to hear that. Yes, it is. My research is almost done. If I don't finish it soon, I'll be banished. Banished! That sounds terrible. Curse it all. Good for nothing. Nothing. The man in the white coat approaches the chained creature and punts it as far as its chain will allow. He kicks it over and over, stomping onto its body as the creature all but keeps still, huddling into itself. Weren't you going to take my blood? Oh, right. With your blood, everything will be complete. Good for you. The man in the white coat readies the device and sets the syringe against her arm. With this, it'll be complete. I won't be banished. Don't hurt me. It'll make me want to clock you, Alexia adds in her mind. The needle enters her arm while she watches as though someone else's blood is filling the glass tube. When it's full, the man in the white coat lovingly carries it out of the room, and Alexia waits for the door to close before releasing a heavy sigh. Oh boy, she's going to have to deal with this. I prepared everything for this day. 2 days after I'm released from interrogations, I looked through the prized mastermind collection in my dorm room and grabbed everything of potential use. These cigars aren't fitting for my age, but this vintage wine, a rare collector's bottle worth 900,000 zenny from Bordeaux in the southwest of French. Yes, it's perfect for tonight, when the moon remains hidden behind the clouds. Now I'll pair it with my finest glassware. This Bouton is the best in French and costs 450,000 zenny. And with this antique lamp and that elusive painting, the Shriek, which I just so happened to stumble upon on the wall, voila, fantastic. Where is he getting all this French stuff? France doesn't exist in this world, does it? Oh, my heart is full. I've hunted bandits and scrounged for coins on my hands and knees all for this. Tears of joy stained my cheeks as I gazed upon my bedroom, a product of my superior collection. All I have to do is set up the invitation I just received today and wait. Oh, wait for that moment. Waiting. And waiting. Then the moment arrives. I murmur to myself, at the same time the girl in ebony enters through the window. The time is ripe. The shadow runs the world tonight. Yes, I prepared everything for this day. The time is ripe. The shadows run the world tonight. Those were the words he used to greet his underling Beta. He sits in the chair with his legs crossed, his back to his subordinate, and might be unguarded, but Beta knows that it's distant and lives in a completely separate from her world, completely separate from hers. The wine glass in his hand glows in the light of the antique lamp. It's even clear to Beta, who isn't too familiar with alcohol, that he's casually sipping on one of the rarest, most unattainable wines of all time. Beta is stunned not only by the luxury items that color his room, but also by the painting she spots on his wall. The unobtainable masterpiece, The Shriek. No amount of cash could ever purchase this work of art. Beta almost asks how he came to possess this painting, but she suddenly realizes it would be meaningless and stops herself in time. Everything falls into his hand because he is who he is. That explains it all. It's only natural for him to own The Shriek. In fact, even if one searched every corner of the world, no one could ever find a more suitable owner for that painting than Shadow. A world of shadows. The clouds cascade over the moon tonight. How fitting for us, Beta asks. Or adds. Shadow silently glances at her and places his mouth on the rim of his glass. We're ready. Uh-huh. He knows everything. Or perhaps it's his omniscient tone that creates the illusion. Well, the truth is, he actually knows almost everything Beta is about to say. But Beta continues to speak regardless, as it is her duty. Under Lady Alpha's command, we've assembled all the people in the area and mobilized them in the capital. There are 114 in total. 114? Is that too few? Considering the strength of the Shadow Garden, she imagined that 114 new members would be more than enough, but it doesn't take long for Beta to realize she misunderstood him. After all, these people are supporting characters, and less than 10% of them are qualified for the job. He's the star of tonight's show. As sidekicks to bring the main character's story to light, 114 seems outrageously small in number. I'm sorry, you hired extras? Shadow asks, interrupting her, but that last word isn't in Beta's vocabulary. Never mind, just talking to myself. Understood. Beta doesn't inquire any further because she knows his words contain more depth than she could ever fathom. And she has neither the right nor the power to ask for more details. That said, she can't stop hoping for a day when she'll stand beside him and support his every secret. But until then, she's going to keep those feelings hidden. Ooh, she does have a crush on him, okay. Oh, a bunch of them do. She continues to speak. Our strategy is to launch synchronized attacks against the hideouts of the Fenrir sect and the Cult of Diablos scattered throughout the capital. At the same time, we'll search for traces of Princess Alexia's magic. Once we locate her whereabouts, we'll switch plans and prioritize her rescue. Shadow nods, silently encouraging her to keep going. Gamma will handle tactical commands, Lady Alpha will command the battlefield, and I will serve as her assistant. Epsilon will lead support from behind, and Delta will ambush them, marking the beginning of our entire operation. The troops will be formed by... Shadow raises his hand, stopping short her detailed explanation. He's holding a letter. An invitation, he adds, flicking it behind him. Beta canters the sheet of paper, which he urges her to read. She trails off, shocked and angered by the crass message. Send a message to Delta. My apologies to Delta, but this prelude is mine to perform. Yes, we'll make sure that happens. Come with me, Beta. He turns to her. Tonight, the world will find out who we are. Beta trembles with joy upon knowing she gets to fight beside him. The ransom note brought him to the forest path deep in the woods. Shadow makes his appearance in his school uniform close to where Princess Alexia was abducted, and Beta covertly lurks a short distance away from him. It only takes a little while before he senses two energies approaching. Something flies in his direction, which he catches in one hand and glances at. Is this Alexia's shoe? He muttered. And then they appear, two men on the path. Hey there, Chick Magnet, what are you doing to Princess Alexia's shoe? Oh, and it contains a trace of magic. You're the culprit, said Kagano. Both were in the armor of the Knight's Order. There's no doubt they're the ones who interrogated him before. I see, that's what you're trying to do. The men unabashedly sneered at Sid's words. If he'd cracked sooner, we wouldn't have had to get in this mess. You could have gone through with it without getting messed up. The two wielded their swords and brazenly closed the distance separating them from Sid. How stupid. Beta can't find the words to describe their idiocy. Okay, said Kagano, you're under arrest for the abduction of a princess. Don't fight back, struggling will get you nowhere. One of them heartily chuckled as he thrust his sword towards Sid. And Sid had stopped the blade between his fingers. Then there's a flash of light as his right foot grazes the man's neck. Blood subsequently erupts from the exact location. There's an ebony dagger sticking out of Sid's right shoe. Ah! The knight drops to the ground, clutching his neck. Oh, bye-bye. He'll die in time. You bastard! His partner panics and tries to slash Sid, but his attack is too simple and careless. Sid dodges by tilting his head, then literally swipes the man off his feet, leaving him empty below the knee. Oh, he cut off his legs! Good lord, man, how much... Oh, what am I saying? He's strong. There's no need to doubt that. Ah! Shrieks the knight as blood gushes from his thighs, which he clutches. My legs! He starts crawling away from Sid. Don't think you can get away from hurting the knight's order, you swine. If we die, you're going to be the first one they suspect. Sid leisurely treads the man's trail of blood and draws closer. It's over for you. Over! Screeches his prey, desperately and fumblingly dragging himself across the ground. When dawn breaks, they'll find the corpses of 2 knights. Yeah, come morning, it's game over. The man inches forward. Sid follows his bloody path. But you don't have to worry anymore. It's at that moment that Fool realizes that Sid is behind him. Eek! There's a flash of light from Sid's right leg, because when dawn breaks, everything will be done. The man's head is flung into the sky, and Sid turns around, blood raining down on him. Beta shudders at the sight, but Sid is no longer there in his school uniform. Instead, there's Shadow, head to toe in ebony, adorned in an inky bodysuit and boots. He holds a black katana in his hand as his coat sways in the breeze. His hood hangs over his forehead, hiding the upper half of his face. Only the lower half sees light. It's as if he's wearing a magician's mask, where the only real visible parts of him are his mouth and the red eyes peering out from the darkness. Does his eye color change? Because he usually has brownish gray eyes, right? After nearly fainting upon seeing his commanding and arresting silhouette, Beta hastily retrieves the Chronicles of Master Shadow from between her breasts and draws a rough sketch of the scene. Next to it, she records his utterance from that day, and voila, all this takes but 5 seconds. On an unrelated note, these drawings and lists of his catchphrases comprise the wall in Beta's bedroom. Stalking much? Or rather, obsessing much, I should say. Writing a new entry in the Chronicles of Master Shadow every night before bed brings her one of her greatest joys in life. The roar of a distant explosion drags her back to reality. Is that Delta? Nocturne has begun. Let's go, Beta. Okay, coming. Beta stuffs the notepad back into her cleavage and dashes after him. And of course, Shadow is totally unaware that she's done any of that in the first place. Eek, what the hell are you? We've done nothing to deserve this. A sea of blood, that's what this is. And there's a man screaming in the middle of it. It has come unannounced. Without any warning or stating its reasons, it burst through the wall and commenced its slaughter. Yet another man has become prey to its black katana blade. No one wants to fight it. The men wish to make a hasty escape and nothing more, but it is blocking the only exit. What have we ever done to you? Nothing, right? It turns to the man and starts to cackle. Eek. From behind his ebony mask, it laughs viciously. Help, he sputters. His body is split down the middle, sliced from the top of his skull to his crotch. Blood bursts from each side of the 2 halves, falls to the right and left. As it submerges its body in blood, it catches the falling drops tenderly. It might have the appearance of a woman, but the temperament is of a devil. So, who's the one doing the massacre at the moment? Upon noticing there are only a few spoils in the area, it extends its weapon, elongating its black blade. Without exaggeration, the katana literally extends far enough to smash through the wall. With a mighty swing, stop! It destroys the building and everything in it. Oh, I'm guessing that's Delta, probably. It's begun. From atop a clock tower, an alluring elf watches the complete annihilation and fall of a building. It's a joke, almost. The breeze touches her long golden locks, which glisten in the dark of the night. Oh, Delta, she always overdoes it. She sighs, shaking her head. Yep, it is Delta. But she can't undo what has already done. Alpha looks over the capital from the top of the tower. The entire capital begins moving frantically. Everything commences as planned, and most of the attention is directed at Delta, who just hacked a building to bits. I have to give it to Delta for making it easier for the others to start. If she could just ignore the victims, she can admit Delta's moves are exceptional. Guess I should get going too, she murmurs. Alpha hides her face behind a pitch-black mask. There is something going on outside. Alexia opens her eyes for the first time in hours. The only ones who had ever entered the room are a female caretaker and the man in the white coat, which gives Alexia nothing to do except sleep on the same table that binds her hands and feet. Neither Alexia nor the creature bother the other, which means they are getting along all right. The clamor intensifies, indicating there's some kind of conflict beyond this room. Alexia smiles, expecting to be rescued. I wonder if they'll crash to the wall all dramatically, she mumbles for no particular reason. The stress must be getting to her, and even though she knows it's meaningless, she shakes the chains that bind her. I'm sorry for waking you. The creature next to her lifts its head, but I think it's best to stay awake. You don't want to miss out on the fun. Alexia knows it won't answer her, but she talks to it anyway. Boredom can have strange effects on the mind. It takes a while before the sound of a key unlocking the door echoes through the room in a flustered and apprehensive way. Shit, shit, shit. The man in the white coat barrels into the room. Good day to you, too. I was so close. So close. He ignores Alexia, who is clearly having fun with all this. Those bastards, they're here. This is the end. The end. Give it up. Resistance is futile. If you unchain me now, I'll ask them to spare you, Alexia tells him. But no guarantees, she adds quietly. Those brutes would never let me go scot-free. They'll kill everyone. Everyone. A night order doesn't kill without reason. If you don't resist and go quietly, they won't take your life. A voice in her mind chimes in, not. A knight's order, I don't give a shit about them. The fiends will kill everyone. Everyone, I tell you. You're not talking about the night order? Then who? Alexia can't imagine anyone else, but then again, she knows it's completely possible he's gone nuts. Either way, this is the end for you. Turn yourself in. No, not until it's complete. The man in the white coat claws at his head and shifts his bloodshot eyes toward the creature. I've made a prototype. If I use this, even a worthless shit like you might be useful. He pushes the device with a syringe against the creature's arm. You shouldn't do that. I don't have a good feeling about this, Alexia warns, sounding quite serious. But he obviously just ignores her, shoving the needle in his arm and injecting it with an unknown fluid. Behold, I give you a glimpse of Diablos. Ooh, how exciting. The creature begins swelling, its muscles bulging before their eyes, and even its skeletal structure starts to expand. Its right arm, which was long and thick, morphs into a malicious and ominous form. Its fingertips sprout nails as long as human legs. Its left arm appears to be holding something and stays stuck to its body. It lets out a high-pitched shriek. Incredible! Astounding! This is surprising. But the chains cannot endure the rapid growth of the creature and snap off on their own. I told you it was a bad idea. Splat! The man in the white coat isn't even spared a final scream of agony before he's crushed by its right arm. Well then. Alexia and the creature lock eyes. She studies its movements. Her hands and feet are bound, which means there isn't much she can do. But she can move around a little bit. Plus, she can't stand the thought of dying as a consequence of some idiot's mistake. The creature swings its right arm. Alexia twists out of the way as much as she can. As long as her injuries aren't fatal, she can survive. It avoids Alexia and pulverizes the table that binds her. The impact sends her flying against the wall where she writhes in pain. She doesn't have any broken bones or visible wounds that can still move. After checking herself for injuries, she quickly rises to her feet, but the creature is gone, leaving behind a shattered table and demolished wall. Did it really save me? Even if she hadn't shifted away, its arm wasn't anywhere close to hitting her, which would mean, no, but can't be, maybe it missed. Well, anyway, Alexia swipes the key from the man's corpse and removes her magical restraints. With this, her magic can flow free. She stretches once to loosen up, then heads to the wall the creature destroyed. There's a long, dimly lit hallway before her. Piles of trampled soldiers litter the ground. I'll be taking that. Alexia burrows a mithril sword from a corpse. It's flimsy, but it'll get the job done. Mithril? You would think that mithril would be good, but I guess not. When she goes down the hallway and turns the corner, she sees someone. We can't have you leaving on your own. You? Why are you here? Alexia's eyes widen with fear. Hold on. An hour, 1 minute. I think it'd probably be close to 40 minutes. What in the world is going on? Iris's red hair swirls behind her. She dashes through the capital late at night. She was told that a building had been destroyed. At first she thought she misheard the news, but as Iris pushed toward the city half in disbelief, her subordinates keep receiving report after report. There are many ambushes occurring in the capital simultaneously. It didn't take long for her to reach that conclusion, but there is nothing logical connecting the various locations under attack. Firms, warehouses, restaurants, private homes of nobles. The crimes must be premeditated, but she can't figure out the goal. That said, the capital is shaky. The Knight's Order is mobilized in a state of emergency, and they begin evacuating high-profile leaders. Even though it's late, the residents crack open their windows to check what's happening, and there are more than a few onlookers outside. Iris shouts at the meandering residents, telling them to go home, and rushes to the scene. Something strange is happening. This is in no way a normal incident. Iris can sense it. It's right at that moment when a scream reaches her ears. Monster! Help! There are shouts from the Knight's Order. They aren't too far away. Iris changes directions and books it toward the cries for help. When she turns the corner down a back street to the main road, she spots the monster. It's a colossal, hideous beast. With a swipe of the enormous blood-soaked fingernails on its right hand, it transforms the knights into piles of flesh. What is that? Iris mutters as she dashes towards it. Stand back! With one fluid movement, her unsheathed blade shimmers in the darkness as it slices through the creature's chest and completely bisects it. She cuts down its immense body in one fell swoop. Are you hurt? Iris calls out from the Night Order and forgets all about the creature as it slowly falls to the ground. Princess Iris, you saved us. That's our princess. She slayed the monster in one stroke. The men are unharmed. Almost all the soldiers are completely unscathed, well, the ones who survived at least. The monster killed 8 of our men. A single hit took them down. Her red wine eyes tremble with sorrow when they fall upon the ghastly corpses. Gather the bodies and head back. Please inform the lieutenant that Princess Iris, shouts one of the knights all of a sudden. He's standing there pointing at something behind her, and the other knights try to raise their muted voices. What? Iris turns and strikes without missing a beat. Her sword collides with the right arm of the creature. Yeah. For a moment, it seems as though Iris has been beaten until she quickly releases a huge quantity of magic that effectively blasts its right arm. From there, she dives into its bosom, severing its legs, and leaps back to prepare for a counterattack. In the following second, the monster swings its right arm where Iris had stood and retrieves a few strands of her long red hair. Is it regenerating? The injuries from the bisection vanish, and the new wound on its leg starting to heal. Ridiculous. How can it regenerate when Princess Iris slices it in two? This can't be. Stay back, Iris calls to the shaken knife as she blocks its next attack. Its moves are quick, powerful, and heavy, but bland. It's only a creature after all. Iris counters ruthlessly. She slices its arm to pieces, chops off its legs, and beheads it. Successful strikes rain down on the creature as if to mock. Try healing from all that. She won't let her retaliate. She's the only one attacking. Is it still healing? But the creature survives. In that brief moment, Iris stops her assault. It regains its form and swats her away with its right arm. And then it shrieks into the night sky. As if in response, rain begins falling from the moonless sky. It drizzles at first, but quickly becomes a torrent. White steam rises where the droplets hit the creature's blood. This might take a while. Iris straightens her posture, preparing for a long fight. She doesn't think she'll lose. Even now, she never considers that she might see defeat. But it seems this battle is going to require more time. Iris readies her sword. When the monster finishes healing, she rushes towards it. The next moment, her sword is knocked out of her hands, accompanied by a shrill sound, and the impact sends pins and needles up her arm. She glares at a sudden intruder, ignoring the fact that her beloved sword whirls into the distance. The newcomer glances at her. They stare each other down. The first to break the silence is the interloper. Why won't you see it's hurt? The uninvited guest is a girl in an ebony bodysuit. Iris can't see her face, but notices that her voice sounds young. Who are you? Iris cautiously keeps both the intruder and the creature in view. Alpha. Oh, Alpha jumped in. After uttering a single word, the girl turns her back to Iris as if she had lost interest in the conversation. Wait, what are you planning to do? If you plan to oppose the Night Order, we won't go easy on oppose. Alpha cuts in, giggling condescendingly at Iris while continuing to face away from her. What's so funny? Oppose? I think that might be the most ridiculous word in the world. Opposing? And ignoramus would be senseless. Excuse me? Iris's magic begins to swell, transforming into a massive wave that sweeps the rain away and forms violent gusts of winds, but Alpha doesn't even glance in her direction. She stands there unfazed, her back still turned to Iris. Play your assigned role as a spectator and keep your eyes on the stage. Don't disturb our performances, she utters before approaching the creature. From behind, she seems solemn. She already completely forgotten about Iris. Did you just call me a spectator? Iris clutches her tingling hands as she glared at Alpha. Poor thing, that must have hurt, says Alpha, walking toward the monster. There is no more pain, no more sadness. Alpha extends her ebony sword longer than her entire body. You don't have to cry anymore. Then with a step forward, she slices the creature in two. No one had time to react. Iris and the creature can only watch as Alpha bisects it. Everything about it feels natural. There is no bloodlust. It's as if this is the only reasonable solution. The monster's massive body crashes onto the ground, and white smoke rises from the husk as it gradually shrivels to the size of a little girl. A dagger has fallen from its left hand. There's a red jewel embedded in it, along with an engraving on its hilt. To my beloved daughter, Milia. Who is Milia? Is that the guy's daughter? Let me know, please. I pray you achieve peace in your next life. How did you kill it? But Iris couldn't. She freaking beheaded the creature, for crying out loud. With that, Alpha vanishes within the white smoke. A clap of thunder sounds in the distance. Iris is stunned in place. Raindrops rain down in her hair and fall onto her face. She's trembling, but she doesn't know why. Iris murmurs. She senses that her little sister is at the epicenter of this chaos, and this premonition pushes her forward. Alexia, please be safe. Iris picks up her sword and starts running. The storm rages on. Okay, I'm gonna see. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is keep going a bit longer. Why are you here? When Alexia turns the corner, she sees an all too familiar visage. Because this is my facility, that's why. I've invested thousands of zenny into that man. That's all there is to it. Confidence overflows from the smile stretched across the face of a dashing blonde. It's Instructor Xenon. You're finally caught, man. That's nice to know. I always thought you were messed up in the head. I guess I was right. Alexia takes one step back and then two. There's a staircase behind him, and she guesses it's her best bet to escape. Huh? Think whatever you want, but I don't mind as long as I have your blood. All anyone talks about around here is blood. Is there a research facility for vampires? If that's what you want to think, more or less. Skip the explanation. I'm not into the occult. Figures. I'm sure you're aware, but the Knight's Order will be here any minute now. This is the end for you. The end? What do I have that can possibly end? Xenon is still all smiles. Your title and reputation will be ruined, and you'll obviously be put to death. I'd be happy to drop the guillotine on your neck. You're off the mark. You and I will be escaping through a secret route. What a romantic offer. Too bad I can't stand you. You're coming with me. With my research in your blood, I'm destined to receive the 12th seat in the rounds. I shall bid farewell to my meaningless position as an instructor. The rounds? Is that a group for lunatics? The Knights of Rounds is a gathering of 12 superior knights from my religion. Becoming a member brings me rank, honor, and fortune like you'd never believe. They've already acknowledged my power. All I'm lacking is experience. My research on your blood should fix that right up. Xenon melodramatically spreads his arms out and lets out a guffaw. Whatever, I'm just sick of all this blood talk, mutters Alexia. I would have preferred Princess Iris, but it looks like I'll have to settle for you. I'm gonna kill you! Oh, excuse me, I forget you hate being compared to your sister. With a forceful swing from Alexia's sword signals the start of their battle. She goes straight for the jugular. Ooh, how scary! Xenon repels her attack at the last second and blocks the following strike. Sparks fly from the colliding blades. Judging the skirmish merely by the manner in which their swords dance in the air, one might be inclined to say their skills are equally matched. But the sword bearers wear very different expressions. Alexia angrily glowers, while Xenon has a relaxed smile. And Alexia is the one burning with wrath, sure enough. She clicks her tongue with frustration and backs away. You start using shoddy swords the moment I stop seeing you. Xenon zeroes in on her weapon. She glances at it with a pained expression. The battle has only just started, but her blade is already filled with countless nicks. I say the choice of weapon shouldn't matter to an expert. Alexia grimaces and stands her ground. I see. If we're talking about experts, I'm sure that's true, Xenon sneers, but you're mediocre. As a sword-fighting instructor, I guarantee it. Alexia visibly screws up her face. For a moment, it looks as if her urge to cry is drowned out by pure fury. Just watch me. Then you can say if you really think I'm mediocre. With that, she lunges at him with all the energy she can muster. Alexia knows. She knows full well she isn't strong enough to beat Xenon, and her flimsy weapon won't last long. But Alexia hasn't spent all these days trading with her head in the clouds. In her mission to become as strong as her sister, she's realized her own shortcomings and worked hard to make up for them. She's observed her sister's swordplay more than anyone else, and can picture every move with impeccable accuracy, which is why it's easy for her to replicate. It's a stroke reminiscent of her sister's assaults. For the first time, Xenon's smile vanishes. The sword he's blocked is filled with magic. The two swords violently clash and repel each other, equally matched. No. Alexia might be a bit stronger. A line is carved into Xenon's cheek. Visibly taken aback, he looks at the blood he wipes off his cheek. I'm stunned. There is no heated meaning behind his words. I had no idea you were hiding your strength. Xenon tilts the palm of his hand. He studies as if checking the color of his own blood. I'm gonna make you regret looking down on me. Pfft, Xenon laughs. I was certainly taken aback, but you're just a poor imitation, after all. You're a long way to go before you're the real deal. He shakes his head. You're asking for it. Since we're both here, let me give you a taste of my true power. Xenon readies his sword. Ugh. The air changes and Xenon's magic takes on a sharper and deeper quality. Let me tell you one thing. I've never shown my true powers to an outsider. I'm about to show you the skills of a true swordsman, of the next generation of the rounds. The air pulses around them. This isn't in the same ballpark as before. Alexia has never seen an attack with so much power looking behind it. Her skills are as helplessly different as a genius and a clod. He may even rival her older sister. Alexia doesn't have the means to defend herself against the devastating force of the approaching blade. Her reaction is involuntary, something that's become part of her after many years of training. There's no impact. The two swords clash, and Alexia's weapon is pulverized into fluttering bits of dust. She feels as though she's watching the sparkling fragments of mithril passing by her from far away. Somewhere far away from here. Alexia's childhood memories resurface in her mind of times when swinging her sword brought nothing but pure joy. Her sister is always beside her, and this is a distant memory that should have faded long ago. You'll never be as good as your sister. A single tear falls from Alexia's eye. You're coming with me. Falling from her hand, this measly hilt that was once a sword hits the floor with a dry metallic clang. Click, click. There's a sound coming from the stairwell behind Xenon. Click, click, click. Something is coming down the stairs. Click, 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 click. When the noise ceases, there's a man in an ebony coat in front of them, dressed entirely in black. He has his hood pulled up, and wears the mask of a magician. The man calmly saunters forth, stepping one step outside the range of their weapons. This man clad in ebony. So you're the feral dog who dares to nip at the cult. There's a sharp glint in Xenon's eyes as he glares at the intruder. My name's Shadow. I lurk in the darkness and hunt down shadows. His voice is as deep and dark as the abyss. I see. You seem to have an inflated ego from destroying our smaller facilities, but you haven't even taken down one of our main fighters. You're just a coward who picks on the little guys. It seems the man who calls himself Shadow is at odds with Xenon. This is good news for Alexia, but she doesn't think this man is her ally. It doesn't matter who or what we choose to destroy, it's all the same. You're sadly mistaken. The main army of the cult is here. Today I'll hunt you down with my bare hands. This is your fate. Xenon turns his sword to Shadow. I'm Xenon Griffey, the next one to fill the 12th chair of the rounds. Taking your life will be my achievement for them. With that, Xenon unleashes a gale of an attack at Shadow. But Shadow is gone, and he slashes through empty space. What the? The next moment, Shadow is standing behind him. It only takes a second before Shadow takes the position. Xenon can't move. As if Xenon has lost track of the time, he stills his sword, even holds his breath to focus every ounce of his energy on the man standing behind him. Nobody budges. That's right, Shadow stands back to back with Xenon, arms crossed. He utters one sentence. Well then, where are the main troops of the cult? Xenon twists his face in humiliation. He then slices downward from over his shoulder, but nobody is there. Absurd. Xenon hears a coat rippling through the air and looks back to find Shadow standing where he originally appeared as if nothing has changed. Even Alexia has completely lost track of Shadow as she watches from the sidelines. If this isn't a magic trick or gimmick, then she'd consider him a mastermind. No, he's much stronger than that. Suppressing his frustration, Xenon slowly turns around. I seem to have slightly underestimated your power. While you only destroyed the smaller bases, there were several of them. This time, Xenon strengthens his magic as he keeps an eye on Shadow. The air undilutes from his power. This is more intense than the strike that shattered Alexia's sword. Shadow is certainly an extraordinary warrior, but Xenon is mightier than the average soldier. An once celebrated child prodigy, he grew up to win numerous tournaments and climbed the rungs to become a master swordsman. There isn't a knight in the country who doesn't know Xenon Griffey's name. I'll show you the power of the one to join the rounds next turn. So fast, Alexia barely managed to follow Xenon's sword with her eyes. The after image of the bare blade tears the air and heads straight for Shadow's neck. That's one sharp move. Somewhere along the way, Shadow raises his black sword and effortlessly blocks Xenon's attack. Yeah. A reluctant place, Xenon tries to push his way to victory. But Shadow draws backward, using the swordsmanship momentum to send him flying. Just before he slams into the wall, Xenon narrowly manages to tumble on the ground and reposition his sword, but he can't hide his unease. Neither of them moves. Shadow has chosen not to move, whereas Xenon can't. He feels as if his entire body is being controlled. I thought you were going to hit me, Mr. Next Gen Rounds. Ugh. Xenon's face burns a furious red. He's frustrated with his opponent, but even more so with himself. That's enough. Xenon howls as he executes a sweep attack. His thrusts forward are as piercing as a squall. His consecutive strikes are as fierce as a raging fire, but none of them land. Ah! His ferocious roar sounds hollow. It's as if an adult is practicing with a child. Alexia is in shock watching the fight. She has never seen Xenon reveal this side of himself before. He has torn off his calm smile and mask of integrity, and it's as if they are now out of his reach. The strongest person Alexia knows is her older sister. Even so, Alexia doesn't think her sister would be capable of overwhelming Xenon. Clang, clang, clang. The scant noise from their clashing blades echoes through the area and seems almost out of place. It's the exact sound of light practice. The ebony blade and its white counterpart edge search trajectories through the air. Alexia's gaze is fixed on the imitation practice session, mesmerized by the black sword. There's a reason her eyes can't stray from it. Mediocre swordplay. The fighter in front of Alexia fights the same way she does. When Alexia was a child, she had her own idea of perfect swordplay. It wasn't about talent, strength, or speed, but building up from the basics. Yet others keep comparing her to her sister and mock her for being average, which makes Alexia feel as if she's lost her direction in life. But despite all her struggles, Alexia never gives up. And she's just witnessed these unremarkable moves slay the genius Xenon Griffey. Amazing, she mutters admiringly. Witnessing this, she can see the path he's walked in life is a direct result of his serious and unwavering efforts. Alexia's sister might have the same thought. Iris. Alexia feels she's finally understood her sister's words from long ago. Damn it. Shadow's blade lashes out at Xenon. He's been hit too many times to keep count. Xenon's breathes raggedly as he glares at Shadow. His enraged eyes still haven't accepted reality. You bastard, show me who you are. Why do you hide your identity when you possess this much power? Those with Shadow's strength hold riches and respect within arm's reach, with the potential to be known worldwide. But no one knows about Shadow's swordplay. Even if he hides his face, those lucky enough to get a glimpse of his swordplay will never forget it. But this is the first time either Xenon or Alexia have seen such phenomenal swordsmanship. I cannot talk. We are the Shadow Garden. We lurk in the darkness and hunt down shadows. That's the only reason we exist. You're out of your mind. Xenon and Shadow exchange glances. Alexia is completely excluded from this exchange. She doesn't know why they're fighting or what they're trying to accomplish. Blood, creature, cult. These are many keywords to remember, but Alexia doesn't know what they mean. To her, it all sounds like the ravings of a madman. But what if it isn't just nonsense? What if there is something going on behind the scenes that Alexia doesn't know about? Fine, if you're ready to get serious, it looks like I'll have to answer to your needs. Xenon produces a pill from his breast pocket. With this pill, I shall be awakened and surpass all human limitations. An ordinary human would break under this power and eventually self-destruct, but those in the rounds are different. Only those who can manipulate this devastating power have the privilege of joining the rounds. Xenon swallows the pill. I am the third awake. Xenon's wounds instantly began healing. His muscles tighten up, his eyes become bloodshot, and his capillary vessels protrude. It looks as if he's being crushed by a tremendous force. I'll show you almighty power, boasts Xenon, his calm smile returning. In his current form, there is no doubt Xenon is stronger than Princess Iris. Alexia thinks Xenon is the strongest being in the world and shrinks back in despair. No, she would if she'd never seen Shadow's swordplay. She doesn't think Xenon's current form is the strongest at all. In fact, she thinks it's something else entirely. How ugly. That's ugly. Alexia's and Shadow's voices overlap. After all, they're striving to achieve the same type of sword technique, which is why they share the same sentiment. Did you just call me ugly? Xenon's smile slips away. Don't call that pathetic form almighty. It's a disgrace to those who are. You son of a bitch. With borrowed power, you'll never walk the path of the Almighty. This is the first time in the battle that Shadow intensifies his magic. Until now, he's barely used it. It's so exceptionally precise that it's impossible to perceive. But what is this? The surge of magic shows itself in the form of blue, violent rays of light. There are hundreds of ultra-thin strands. These create a dazzling pattern as they wrap themselves around Shadow like veins. It's beautiful. Alexia is memorized by this sight. She isn't admiring the beauty of the lights, though, but the precision of his magic. What is this? Xenon is once again shocked. No one has ever created such beauty through magic. I'll show you true almighty power, and carve it into your mind forever. Magic gathers in the ebony blade and etches out a pattern, starting to form a large spiral. Shadow continues focusing his power. It seems as if that spiral will swallow everything whole. A frightening power is absorbed into the black weapon. This is me at my peak. Shadow readies his blade in the lunging position. The stance is only to strike down an enemy. Stop. Is the ground trembling? Or the air? Or Xenon himself? No, it's everything. Everything is rippling. Alexia notices she's shaking too. Isn't that a fear, though, but joy. That's the final destination. That swordplay is the strongest. Oh, he's terrified. Watch closely. Draped in light, the ebony blade pulls back. Hidden technique. I am atomic. And releases. And then, boom. Big old explosion. All around is lost. A torrent of light shoots past Alexia and engulfs Xenon's body. It penetrates everything, consuming the walls and the earth, blasting upward into the night sky. Then it explodes. As patterns of light are etched into the night sky, the entire capital assumes a blue-violet hue. From impossibly far away, the delayed blast ripples across the city, sweeping away the rain clouds, shaking the ground and the private in residence before passing. All that's left is a full moon and the beautiful night sky full of stars. Xenon has been vaporized. He doesn't even leave behind a single speck of dust. This large hole blasts through the wall all the way above ground, and then Shadow flings open his coat and slips into the night. I think I'm going to stop here. I will see everybody next time.